And if you only consider this particular theme called crops, you can see that at least 16 questions have been asked in last 9 years or since 2015. UPSC has framed 16 questions from this particular theme, crops alone. If you had prepared using this particular framework, this particular theme, then you would have fetched a lot of marks based on these 16 questions. Hello aspirants, welcome to Prelims Charioteer 2025. So this exclusive Prelims Mentorship program has been designed to make you self-sufficient in comfortably clearing your Prelims cutoff for 2025. We have designed this particular program based on insights from current aspirants who have consecutively cleared Prelims with an edge over the cutoff of approximately 10 to 30 marks. And in this particular program, we will handhold you throughout your Prelims journey based on 5 major components. So we will look at these 5 components. First of all, the primary component of our Prelims Charioteer program is to change your preparation orientation from subjects, say geography, economy, polity, and so on, towards important themes that are relevant for the Prelims examination. And we have arrived at 30 major themes based on our own PYQ analysis. And in this particular video, we will illustrate to you one such important theme which can fetch you at least 1 to 2 questions every Prelims. So naturally a question can arise. There are hundreds of videos about major themes, micro themes for Prelims, etc. running around YouTube. So what makes a theme worthy for you to invest in? That means a theme, if you have to invest in a particular theme, say 1 to 2 days and the revision days extra, then that particular theme should fetch you at least 1 to 2 questions guaranteed every year. So that makes a theme important. So we have included only such themes in our analysis. So we will move through these themes in 3 steps. First of all, we will make you self-sufficient in how to identify these important themes. Then once you identify these themes, you should have a framework to go through these themes. Otherwise, the content in every theme is endless. You should understand. You should realize where to begin and where to stop, and prioritize your content accordingly. So in order to help you do that, we have arranged a framework for every theme. So first of all, you will identify the themes. Then you will have a particular framework for each of those themes, so that you can easily cover these themes in say 1 to 2 days. So the theme that we are focusing upon today is crops. So as you can see on the screen, we have subcategorized crops into 6 major categories. Of course, there are cereals like rice, wheat, millets, etc. There are pulses. There are plantation crops. There are, of course, spices for which the Europeans came to India. And then there are, of course, oil seeds for which we are heavily import dependent. So we have subcategorized this the major theme crop into 6 categories. And we have provided certain angles based on which the questions are framed by UPSC regarding each of these crops. So keep this framework in your mind for a moment. We will directly visit the PYQs that arose from this particular topic, and we will come back to this framework. So now we are moving towards the PYQs. See, let us begin from 2024 itself. There was a question regarding cocoa. So cocoa is a major plantation crop in the world. So in our framework, you would have studied cocoa as a major plantation crop, and the particular angle from which this question arose was regarding the production. So who is the largest producer of a particular crop? Or who is the largest exporter of a particular crop? Or is India importing this crop in a large amount or large quantity? Which are our major importing countries for that particular crop? So all these are angles based on which UPSC will frame the question. So this particular question has come from the subcategory called plantation crops and the angle called production. So based on our framework, you will be easing through these topics. and you will be covering all the important angles for each of those crops. So now say move towards the next question in the same year. The question was regarding apples. So apple is naturally a fruit. So as you know, we are importing apple in large quantities from United States. So this is how we will arrive at this particular topic. Apple is a fruit, one of the major fruits. We are importing it in a large quantity. So naturally, we will make a note of where we are importing this from. So we will cover that question as well. So now we will move on to the next question. Say there was a question on palm oil. So everyone will be knowing that palm oil, we have a huge import dependency with regards to palm oil. So naturally, it comes under the category of oil seeds. The crop category called oil seeds. And what about the question angle? This particular question is about the use of that particular crop. Say we have cash crops, several plantation crops. So apart from being used as a food item or as a feed for cattle, several of these crops have important functions. Say aromatic crops like lavender are used in perfumes. In such a way, for important crops, we have to look at their use. So that is another angle based on which the questions are framed by UPSC. So now we'll move on to the next question about sugarcane. Among the following, which one is the least water efficient crop? This is actually an easy question because this is a part of core geography. The growing conditions or growing requirements for each of those crops. So under the category, crop category sugarcane, we would have dealt with the growing requirements for sugarcane. So this would have been an easy question. So then you should move towards the next question, Niger seeds. So Niger seeds is another oil seed. And it has another importance as well. One very important angle based on which UPSC has framed questions on crops is focusing upon the MSP crops. So as you know, Government of India provides MSP or minimum support price for 22 crops every year. At least even if they will not procure these crops, they will publish the price details every year for these MSP crops. There are 22 MSP crops. So UPSC has repeatedly framed their questions based on these MSP crops. So there are 8 cereals, 5 pulses, 7 oil seeds, which are availing MSP from the Government of India. So all these crops become important from our prelims perspective. So here Niger seed is one such crop for which MSP has been availed from the Government of India. So under the crop category oil seeds, under the crop Niger seed, we will focus upon whether it is availing MSP or not, or what are its uses. So that angle covers this question. So we will move on to the next one. Say this was a question regarding the plantation crop called tea. So there are several important plantation crops in India: tea, coffee, rubber, coconut, and so on. So tea is one of the most important plantation crops, and this question was framed on the plantation crop tea and based on the state-wise production. So under the question angle production, several things can be focused upon. Say the area under cultivation for this crop is largest in a particular state, or say the volume of production would be largest for another state, because the productivity should of course be different. So in such a way also UPSC is framing questions. So another angle is the production, state-wise production, country-wise production at international level, and so on. Or even the category-wise production, say within the category of pulses, which among the following pulses have the highest production? And they will give the options like green gram, moong dal, and so on. So even the category-wise production is so important, and UPSC has actually asked such questions in previous years. So this illustrates that under the plantation crops, category of plantation crops also, production-based questions has been asked by UPSC. So now we'll move on to the next one regarding the same plantation crop, tea. But this time the question angle was different. It was framed based on organizations or bodies. So almost every important crop in India has some particular authority, either at the state levels or at the central level. Maybe there will be an export development authority for that particular crop, like APEDA or the Fisheries Export Authority, and so on. So here the question was focused on tea board, which is a statutory body related to the plantation crop tea. So this question came from the angle of organizations or bodies. This is a rare angle, but still questions have been asked from such an angle. maybe based on this knowledge, you can predict that next year or the 2026, a question could be framed by UPSC regarding the coffee board or the spices board of India or the international pulses organization in which India is a major part. Such questions can be predicted by us if you visit the PYQs and create a framework based on which you can study these themes or prepare these themes and then predict those questions. So take a look at this question. In this particular question, they have framed the question based on the sub-categorization itself. There is no particular angle. They have directly asked about the import order or the prioritization or the weightage in Indian imports for these particular crop categories. Spices, fresh fruits, pulses, vegetable oils. They directly correspond to our sub-categorization, which I already showed to you. So this was an easy question based on the angle, import-export angle. And this was a very easy question because, of course, everyone knows vegetable oils. We have a huge import dependency. And the table below also illustrates. It was a direct question from the annual export-import table published every year by DPIIT. So such questions are framed every year by UPSC. And if you only consider this particular theme called crops, you can see that at least 16 questions have been asked in last 9 years or since 2015. UPSC has framed 16 questions from this particular theme, crops alone. So if you take the average, at least say in 10 years or 16 questions means 1.6 questions per year. So it is 1 to 2 questions every year. You can fetch 1 to 2 questions every year if you focus on this particular theme, crops, exhaustively, based on our framework. So you can see other questions that have been asked from crops here regarding the FRP, that is a part of MSP. FRP is provided for sugarcane. So that was a question on FRP. Then there was a question on cereals and pulses and relating them to MSP. We already discussed that MSP is another important angle based on which questions are framed by UPSC in this particular theme. So then there is a question directly on pulses, black gram, green gram, and the production of kharif pulses alone. So actually this is another theme, another subcategory of the major theme, crops. So you would have cited about the category-wise production of each of the pulses. There are 5 major pulses that are heavily produced in India: green gram, black gram, urad, moong, and so on. So you will be able to easily study this from a pie chart itself. The state-wise production as well as, not the state-wise production, there are the top 5 states with the highest production for each of these pulses. You can use a pie chart to study this in your notes. And also you can use the pie chart for the category-wise production as well. Say gram has the highest production among pulses in India. And following gram there will be moong dal or urad will be there. So in such a way you can study the production angle or the angle called production from a pie chart. So that will fetch you marks in these kinds of questions. The 86th question, black gram, green gram, and so on. So now there is another question regarding the growing condition for a crop. This was regarding cotton. They have directly provided the growing conditions for cotton. This was easily covered from a normal geography textbook. So this was another easy question from the particular theme, crop. Again, you can see the questions have been asked about area under rice cultivation. So area was the angle. Area was the angle from which question was asked. Then the first statement was about the subcategory rice. That comes under cereals. Then again, jowar, oil seeds, sugarcane. So all of them were combined in this question to create 4 statements. And all of these are major crops. Whenever UPSC asks a question or detailed question about one such crop, that will of course be a major crop in India. So you need not study about, say, beetroot and cucumber. Nobody is going to study about beetroot and cucumber. So you have to keep in mind the relevance of each of these crops when you are preparing notes. So you have to prioritize those crops accordingly. So they say there is another crop, question, easy question, largest exporter of rice in the world. Again a question from the theme, crops from the angle, worldwide production or worldwide export. There is a question about plantation crops, tobacco, cocoa, rubber, and so on. Then there is another question about MSP. So all these questions I have collected from last 10 years. So you can, by now we have illustrated to you that crops is one of the most important themes which will fetch you at least 1 question. 1 to 2 questions every prelims. So now we will revisit that particular slide in which I showed you the framework. So now look at this framework again. If you had prepared using this particular framework, this particular theme, then you would have fetched a lot of marks based on these 16 questions. So every year you would have fetched at least 2 to 4 marks. So that now if you revisit this framework, you can easily understand that if you had studied based on this framework, you would have answered those questions. At least you would have eliminated some options. So instead of investing your time in broader topics like geography, history, polity, etc., you should find out these important themes and invest a lot of time in them so that you can guarantee the result. So as I already told you in the beginning, themes is only one of the components of our Prelims Mentorship program. So I have provided the details of all other components in the description, and you can visit the description box. Our contact details are also provided along with it, and this particular mentorship program, we can only have a limited intake. Because of course it's a mentorship program and you have one-on-one sessions. If you see the descriptions, you will have one-on-one sessions with the aspirants who have cracked the prelims with at least a 30 marks edge over the cutoff. So this is an exclusive program, and if you contact us immediately, you can book your seats. And keep an eye on this particular platform. We'll be providing the, contents like this soon. Thank you.